Welcome to my instructional video on the lesser ritual of the pentagram. I am Lodge Magician, also known as Sean, and I've been involved with Western Ceremonial Magic for the past 30 years. I'm excited to share the knowledge that I have gained in this time with you, and I hope that you will find this video helpful in your practice of the Western mystery traditions. In this presentation, I will be sharing with you a great deal of information and instructions on the lesser ritual of the pentagram. The topics will include basic knowledge and techniques necessary in the performance of the ritual, how to physically perform the ritual, the basic level of visualization that is required of the ritual, more advanced visualizations that you may include as you grow in your ability and your magical practice, and finally, uses and applications of the ritual. Now let's get started with learning the lesser ritual of the pentagram. First, let's look at the basic knowledge and skills that you need to perform the ritual. To begin with, let me clarify that there are actually two versions of the ritual. The lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, which is the most commonly discussed, and the lesser invoking ritual of the pentagram. First, we will be looking at how to draw the pentagrams, which is the first primary difference between the two rituals. We'll discuss both the banishing version and the invoking version. Next, we'll be looking at the motions and signs, as they are called, that are used during the ritual. We'll cover exactly what they do. Next, we'll discuss how to properly vibrate or chant the words when performing ritual. This is a huge part of doing not only this ritual, but all magical works properly and effectively. Let's look at how to draw the pentagrams. The pentagrams are drawn in specific ways depending on if you are performing the banishing or invoking version of the ritual. For the invoking version of the ritual, you start with drawing the pentagram from the top point, moving toward the bottom left point. From there, continue to draw the rest of the pentagram. We'll have a diagram and a video example of how to do this in just a moment. For the banishing version, the drawing of the pentagram is reversed. You start from the bottom left and move towards the top, continuing from there to complete the rest of the pentagram. Sometimes this is referred to as an earth pentagram, since you are either moving towards the point of the pentagram associated with the element of earth or away from it. As we'll discuss in the visualization part of the video, this is not an earth pentagram. In this diagram, you can see two pentagrams. The one on the left is the invoking pentagram, and it starts at the top and moves to the lower left point. The one on the right is the banishing version. It starts at the lower left and moves to the top.
So now I would like to talk about how to draw the signs of the pentagram. When you're drawing these, you want to do it with one finger, or you can use two fingers. I've seen people use their entire hand to draw it out. However you want to do it is right for you. You want to start off to do the invoking version of the pentagram. You start at the top, move your hand down to the bottom left so it's outside of your left hip, outside of your right shoulder, outside of your left shoulder, down to the right hip, and back up to the top. To do the banishing version of the pentagram, you start from the left hip, move up to the top, down to the right hip, left shoulder, right shoulder, and back to the left hip. When you're doing these, you want to have your arm fully extended. If I turn to the side, you can see that as I do these, my arm is extended out to the fullest length that it can reach. And you're drawing a large pentagram as you do this. And as you draw it, you can imagine it being bigger than what it is that your arm movements are actually going. So that if you're doing just this size, you can imagine it being as large as your entire body. And that's how you draw the pentagrams for the ritual.
Take a look at some of the specific movements and signs that are used in the ritual. The movements, which are sometimes called signs, are very important in the ritual. They are means to, among other things, direct our intention and magical energy within the ritual. They have other uses as well outside of this ritual, but these are beyond the scope of this presentation. Energy follows your breath, thought, and movement. So by coordinating these, you are able to focus your intention and energy to specific purposes. There are two signs that will be used in this ritual. The first is the projecting sign. It is used to focus energy in a direction or towards a specific target. It's a way of sending energy out to accomplish its work. The second is the sign of silence. It is used typically after the projecting sign to keep the energy from at a point beyond you and keep it from returning to you, or to keep something away from you. We will be looking at how to perform these signs in just a moment. It is important to remember that you have to use the signs with intent. Just absent-mindedly making the signs is not effective. Later in this presentation, we will be talking about how to use the signs with visualization and intention. Here are the diagrams of the signs. To make the projecting sign, start by bringing your hands up around the sides of your head. As you do, take a deep breath inside. Inhale. Then lift your left foot and take a step forward. As you put your foot down, you should lean forward and thrust your hands forward forcefully, as if pushing something away from you. You should also exhale as you do so. The intention is that you are pushing something or sending something from yourself forward and away from you. The sign of silence is made by stepping back to a straight position and drawing your left foot back to your right. As you do, let your right hand fall to your side, and the left hand is brought up to your lips with the index finger extended and touches the lips as if you were telling someone to be quiet. At the same moment as your finger touches your lips, your left foot should stomp on the floor. The intention behind this is that it is an authoritative command.
So now I would like to show you the signs that we use in the ritual of the pentagram. The first will be the projecting sign, which you do by bringing your hands up to beside your head. You step forward with your left foot and lean forward, and as you do, you push your arms out like you're pushing the energy toward you. You want to be looking where you're projecting to. You push the energy out, directing it out toward you. A little bit faster from here. And you want to coordinate the breath with this as well. So as you're bringing your hands up, you're inhaling, and as you're projecting out, you're exhaling. I'll turn and do it on the side. Drawing the hands up, stepping out, thrusting the hands out. And this is the projecting sign. Now the second sign that we do is the sign of silence. And after we've done the projecting sign, you'll draw your left foot back and you'll stand up. Your right hand will drop down to your hip or down to your side. And your left hand will come up with one finger and touch your lip, like you're telling someone to be quiet. And as you're doing this, at the same time that your finger comes up and touches your lip, your foot should stomp the ground. So you've done the projecting sign, then you do the sign of silence, so that it's all coordinated at the same time. And these are the two signs that you use in the ritual of the pentagram.
Next, let's look at vibratory formula. Vibratory formula, or vibrating as it is commonly called, is a very important part of magical practice. It is a method of producing a vibration through your body and through the energy field surrounding your body by using your voice. Using vibrating in conjunction with particular words and names produces a sympathetic vibration in the energy that you are directing. This vibration is focused toward the same frequency as the effect you are attempting to produce. This greatly increases the effectiveness of the ritual and magical work that you are performing. To perform vibrating, begin by inhaling deeply and completely. As you inhale, mentally say the word or name that you will be vibrating. At the same time, imagine this word being drawn into your lungs and filling your body. Then you should chant the word or name. When you do so, you should feel the vibration in your throat. Try to increase that vibration so that you can feel it throughout your entire body. This is something that will take a bit of practice. As you're doing this, imagine the vibration also moving beyond your body, carrying the word or name with it. Try to give each syllable equal emphasis as you are chanting, and you should use your entire breath in the chant. This is something that you should practice to get down and find the best pitch that fits your body and to cause it to vibrate. Not everyone is the same, and some people may vibrate at a different pitch. There are times when you will want to use a specific pitch depending on the magical work that you are doing, but that's a discussion for another presentation. Now that you have the basics of what you need to perform the lesser ritual of the pentagram, let's learn how to do the physical part of it. Remember that the physical performance is only one part, but it is a very important part and not one that you should skip. It is just as important as every other aspect of the ritual and magical work. The ritual of the pentagram can be broken down into 4 parts. The first part is the Kabbalistic cross. This can be done by itself as a separate operation. Next is the drawing of the pentagrams. After that, you will be doing the invocation of the archangels. Finally, at the end of the ritual, you'll repeat the Kabbalistic cross again. For this section of the presentation, we'll be looking at not just the physical movements. I find that it is important to learn these first because it frees your mind for the visualizations that you will be discussing later. I will be presenting each part to you, describing it and using diagrams, and at the end of the section, I will demonstrate the entire ritual for you. The first part is the Kabbalistic cross. As I said before, this can be done as a standalone exercise and meditation. We begin the Kabbalistic cross facing east. If you cannot face east for whatever reason, or you do not know which direction is east, simply take a moment and affirm in your mind that the direction you are facing will be east for the purpose of the ritual. If you do this, make sure that you maintain the same east for the duration of the entire ritual. Take a couple of deep breaths and relax. Relaxation, both physical and mental, is essential to magical work. Energy does not flow well through tense muscles or a tense mind. Take your right index finger and touch the center of your forehead. When you do, vibrate the word Ata, like this. Ata. We will talk about what the words mean in a few minutes. Then, moving your finger down the front of your body, tracing a line from the forehead to the center of the chest, down between your shoulders, and down the front of your body to your feet. Pointing at your feet, vibrate the word Malkut. Malkut. Next, bring the finger back up to the center of your chest, directly between your shoulders. Trace a line from the center of your chest to your right shoulder. Touch your shoulder and say, or vibrate, Vegabora. Vegabora. From there, trace the line from your right shoulder to your left shoulder, making a horizontal line across your body. Touch your left shoulder and vibrate the words Vegadula. Vegadula. Finally, bring your hands together to the center of your chest, palms pressing together, in front of your solar plexus. Vibrate the words Le'olam Amen. Le'olam Amen. At this point, you've completed the Kabbalistic cross. Here is an image of the points we're talking about in relation to your body. Atah is at the top of your head, Malkuth is at your feet, Vegabora at the right shoulder, Vegadula at the left shoulder, and Le'olam Amen is at the solar plexus. Practice this until you have it down, and then move on to the next part. Now for the second part of the ritual, drawing the pentagrams. While you're still facing east, you are going to draw a large pentagram in front of you. Remember, if you're doing the invoking version of the ritual, draw the invoking pentagram. If you're doing the banishing version, then draw the banishing pentagram. Use your right index finger to draw the pentagram and make it as large as possible. Once you have completed the pentagram, raise both hands to the side of your head and perform the projecting sign. As you exhale with the projecting sign, vibrate the name Yod He Vav He. Yod He Vav He. After you have finished vibrating the words, make the sign of silence. Hold it for just a moment, and then take your right index finger and point to the center of the pentagram. Turn to face south. As you do, as if you were drawing a line from the east to the south. Now that you're facing south, draw the pentagram again just as you did when you were facing east. Make the projecting sign again, but this time as you exhale, vibrate the word or the name Adonai. Adonai. And make the sign of silence afterwards. And point to the center of this pentagram with your right index finger and turn to face the west. Repeat the drawing of the pentagram again and give the signs, this time vibrating the name Iheye. Iheye. And then do the sign of silence afterwards. Point to the center of this pentagram and turn once more to face north. Draw your fourth pentagram to the north and give the signs. As you give the projecting sign, vibrate the name Agla. Agla. And give the sign of silence afterwards. Point to the center of the pentagram again and turn once more to face east. Now you should have drawn 4 pentagrams around you, one to the east, south, west, and north, and you should also have traced a full circle around you in the process. This gives you an idea of what you should imagine. You would be standing in the center where the red dot is, and the pentagram should be all around you. You can also see the words that should be vibrated at the appropriate directions. Now let's take a look at the third part of the lesser ritual of the pentagram. At this point, you should have just completed drawing the pentagrams and are now facing east again. With your feet together, lift both arms and extend them out horizontally to your sides. You should be standing like you were a cross, with your head, body, and legs being the vertical bar, and your arms being the horizontal bar. Say before me, Raphael. Make sure that you are vibrating or using the vibratory technique on each of the names, in this case Raphael, and all the other names in this section. Say behind me, Gabriel. Say to my right hand, Michael. With the name Michael, the CH sound has a guttural sound. Say to my left hand, Uriel. Next, say, around me flames the pentagrams. Within me shines the 6-rayed star. This completes the third section of the ritual. Finally, the fourth section is a repeat of the first. Repeat the Kabbalistic cross again, just like you did at the beginning. And you've now completed the lesser ritual of the pentagram. Here you see the diagram of the ritual again, this time with the archangelic names added to each of the directions.
So now what I would like to do is perform for you the entire lesser ritual of the pentagram. And I'll do the banishing version of the pentagrams. This way it'll put together all of the elements that we've looked at so far. Ata Malkut Vegebora Vegadula Leolam Amen. Yod He Vov He. Adonai. Yeh. Hagla. Before me, Raphael. Behind me, Gabriel. At my right hand, Michael. At my left hand, Uriel. Around me flames the pentagrams. Within the column shines the six-rayed star. Ata Malkuth Vegebora Vegadula Leolam. Amen.
Now let's talk about the Hebrew names and words that are used in the ritual. It is useful and even important to know what you are saying in the ritual. With a few exceptions, you should at least know what the words are that you are saying and understand their purpose. You can meditate on the words and especially on the names for additional insight and understanding. The names and words were not chosen at random, but have very specific purposes. Looking at the words of the Kabbalistic cross, they should probably be very familiar to you. The first word, atah, is Hebrew for thine or thine is. Malkut, the word stated when pointing at the feet, is the Hebrew word for kingdom. Ve-Gabora is actually two Hebrew words. Ve is a conjunction and is used and can be thought of as the word and. Gabora is the Hebrew word for power. With Ve-Gadula, we have already talked about Ve. Gadula is the Hebrew word for glory. Le'olam translates as for all time or forever. Amen is an ending statement typically used at the end of prayers. As you are probably aware, this is the end of what is commonly known as the Lord's Prayer. Moving on to the second section, let's look at the names and the drawing of the pentagrams. The first name, said facing east, is not actually pronounced as a name. It is pronounced by saying the name of the 4 Hebrew letters that make up the name, Yod, He, Vav, He. This is, in Hebrew traditions, the unpronounceable name of God. Often you will hear people say Yahweh or Yehovah or Jehovah, but these are not actually the true pronunciation. It's understood to mean I create, but it could also mean he or she creates. Facing south, the name Adonai is spoken. This name in Hebrew means Lord or my Lord. To the west we say the name Iheye. This is Hebrew for I am, and is often heard in the phrase Iheye Asher Eheye, which means I am that I am. To the north, the name Agla is spoken. Agla is actually an acronym for a Hebrew phrase, Ateh Gebor Le'olam Adonai, which translates as, Thou art great forever, my Lord. As will be explained later, all 4 of these names, when written in Hebrew, have 4 letters. This is significant and its meaning will be explained in due time. Now let's look at the 4 archangelic names. You've probably heard these before, but not understood their meaning. Raphael in Hebrew means healer of God, or the health of God. Gabriel directly translates as mighty one of God. Michael is Hebrew for the likeness of God. And Uriel means light of God or torch of God. This completes our review of the spoken and physical components of the ritual. I suggest that you practice this and become comfortable with the movements and spoken words, and then start to add the visualizations. Now, just one thing before we move on. If you are studying with a group or initiated into a lodge or an order that teaches the lesser ritual of the pentagram, you may have been taught slight differences in how the ritual is done. Occasionally, a gesture will be made differently or with a slightly different language is used. The most common variations that I've seen are come around the phrase, around me flames the pentagrams, and within me flames the 6-rayed star. Sometimes it will be around me flames the pentagram, singular. And when speaking that phrase, you should spread out your feet so that your body is in the shape of the pentagram. Sometimes it will be taught as, in the column shines the 6-rayed star. Sometimes the entire phrase will be, before me shines the pentagram, and behind me shines the 6-rayed star. I've seen, read, and tried many variations of this ritual, and they all work. If you are studying with a tradition, you should practice it in the manner that you were taught, as it will maintain the energetic continuity of the teachings. Also, it will probably tie into their further teachings. Minor variations and differences are to be expected between individuals and traditions. Let's now take a look at what is probably the most important part of the lesser ritual of the pentagram, the visualizations. Let's talk about why visualizations are so important to magical work. Visualization is the difference between performing actions and doing magic. While the physical actions are important, visualization is what makes it magical. If you're doing ritual, and that means any ritual or spell work, without visualizations, then you were just going through the motions. You were doing the physical and spoken components, but not breathing life into them. As I said earlier, energy follows breath, movement, and thought. But it is thought through the process of visualization that focuses and directs the energy with the breath and the movement. It is also through visualization that we are able to connect to and interact with higher spiritual energies. Now we shall look at the visualizations for the Kabbalistic cross. The visualizations start when you are taking your deep breaths and relaxing at the beginning. You want to imagine that you are becoming larger and larger. You grow bigger than your home, bigger than the trees, bigger than buildings. Imagine yourself growing larger than the earth, and you continue to grow. Soon, you are larger than the solar system, and it grows smaller and smaller under your feet. Continue to growing as you see the galaxy, and then other galaxies grow smaller and smaller beneath you, until all that surrounds you is the blackness of empty space. Before proceeding, take a moment to feel that you are still grounded and firmly balanced on the earth. No matter how large you grow, you are still firmly balanced on the earth. Imagine the blackness around you and see far above your head in the distance a brilliant dot of white light. From that dot, a single ray of light rushes outwards toward you, stopping about a foot above your head. See and feel the light and the warmth radiating from it. Take your right index finger and touch that light. Guide it down to your forehead with your finger. As you touch your forehead, see it form a sphere of light about 3 inches in diameter at the top of your head. Once the sphere is formed, you vibrate the word Ate. Visualize or imagine the ray of light continuing through the center of your body as you move your finger down to point to your feet. It moves through your feet and into the earth below. See a sphere of light the same size as the one above your head form below your feet. When you see it there, you vibrate the word Malkut. When you bring your finger from the center of your chest to your right shoulder, see a ray of light branch off from that center column and move to your right shoulder and outwards from there to infinity. Visualize another sphere of brilliant white light form on top of your right shoulder. When you have imagined it, you vibrate the words Vegabora. As you trace the line across to your shoulders to the left, see the ray of light spread to the left, following your finger and reaching out to infinity towards the left. Imagine a sphere of light form on your left shoulder. When you see it in your mind, you vibrate the words Vegadula. Bring both hands together in front of the solar plexus and form a sphere of light there, the same size as the others. When you do, you vibrate Leolam Amen. And this concludes the visualizations for the Kabbalistic cross. Now for drawing the pentagrams. Before you start to draw the pentagrams in the east, inhale and visualize the light coming into you from the source above your head. See that light filling you. As you draw the pentagrams, exhale and see the light flowing down your arm and out your hand to form the pentagram. When you are finished, you should imagine a brilliant white pentagram in front of you. Incidentally, this is why the pentagram is not an earth pentagram. An earth pentagram would be one of the earth colors, either citrine, russet, olive, or black. As you inhale before vibrating the divine name, visualize the energy coming into you as before. Also, imagine the name that you will be vibrating coming into you as well. When you make the projecting sign, vibrate the name and see the energy flowing forcefully out of your hands, projecting both the pentagram and the divine name far into the distance. As it travels there, it cleans and removes any energies from the quarter of the east. If you're doing the invoking version, see that light filling the quarter as it clears out all of the energies that are there. After you have exhaled and projected the energy from the quarter, make the sign of silence. This helps to seal the quarter and keep the energy that has been projected away from returning. With your right index finger, point at the center of the pentagram. As you do, inhale and fill yourself with the light from the channel created by the Kabbalistic cross. As you turn to the south, exhale and visualize light moving out of your finger, forming a ring or wall of light around you. Repeat this process in each of the 3 remaining quarters. When returning to the east from the north, you should imagine a ring or wall completely surrounding you, with all the pentagrams of bright white light at each of the quarters. Next comes the invocation of the archangels. Say, "Before me," but do not vibrate the name yet. Before you vibrate, breathe in and fill yourself with that light from the channel of the Kabbalistic cross. As before, also see the name of the archangel coming into you as well. As you vibrate the name, see a golden ray of light shoot from your solar plexus and travel in the appropriate direction of the archangel. Visualize it carrying the name of the archangel with it. When it reaches its destination, see the golden ray form into the image of the archangel. You should see the archangel with as much detail as possible. See the archangel spread its wings, sending its energy into the quarter that it presides over. Then continue on to the next archangel. You should have a clear image of the archangel that you are visualizing. Make your mental image have as much detail as possible. Pictured here are images of the 4 archangels that will work with the ritual. If you have different images of them that you would like to use, then feel free to do so. Just make sure that you are using the same image each time. Doing so builds up the energy in the image and increases your connection to the archangel. When you say, "Around me flames the pentagrams," visualize the pentagrams flaming in their quarters around you. Also visualize the archangels in all their majesty, wings spread, in front of the pentagrams. When you say, "Within me shines the 6th-grade star," visualize a golden hexagram or Star of David in your solar plexus. The white column of the Kabbalistic cross should flow through it and energize it. Now do the Kabbalistic cross again. You do not have to repeat the visualization of growing larger because you should still be there. Do all of the visualizations with the light flowing through you and forming the spheres as you perform it. When done, see yourself shrinking back down to normal size. You've completed the ritual. I know that it seems like a lot to visualize, but the more you practice it, the easier it will become. The visualizations will form a habit in your mind and will become easier the more that you do them. Once you have everything down, the ritual should take no longer than 4 or 5 minutes. In the next part of the video, we're going to be discussing visualizations that are more advanced. I do not recommend that you work with them until you have gotten the visualizations up to this point down pat. They're not dangerous, but they can be much more challenging. Over the years of work and learning, I've developed additional visualizations that work well in my use of the ritual. Most of these are my own developments, but some are taught by various schools. If these visualizations work for you, feel free to use them. If they do not, then don't use them. Some are based on advanced teachings, and if you go far in an order or a curriculum of teaching, you will probably find yourself doing these at some point. Several of these visualizations involve visualizing the actual Hebrew characters. Take time in memorizing these and make sure that you get them right. If you're already familiar with the Hebrew alphabet, it will help. If not, and you would like to have a better understanding of it, I will be producing a video of the letters in the future. You can just learn the letters for the visualization at this point if you like. Hebrew letter visualizations. This can be done anytime you are vibrating Hebrew letters, names, or words. As you inhale, you are visualizing the energy and the name or word coming into you. You can also visualize the actual letters coming into you. See the letters in your mind's eye. Then, as you vibrate the word, name, or letters, see them flow out from you with the energy you're sending out. Imagine the actual letters being carried on the energy that you are projecting. Just a reminder, Hebrew is written from right to left. For many of us, this will be difficult to learn at first. Here are the Hebrew letters for the words of the lesser ritual pentagram. Pay careful attention to them because many look similar to one another. Take, for example, the second and third letters of the word atah. Remember, it's spelled right to left. The second letter is tau, and the third is hey. They look very similar. The difference is the left leg of tau connects to the horizontal, and it has a foot at the bottom of it. With hey, it does not connect and has no foot. Another two letters that look similar to the third are the third letter of Malkuth, Kaf, and the second letter of Gabriel, Beth. With Kaf, the bottom of the letter sweeps up and connects with the vertical, and Beth, the bottom, extends past the vertical. These are just two examples, and I'm sure you'll find many more. Take your time with them and examine them carefully. Elemental visualizations. As we stated before, the lesser ritual of the pentagram is not working with elemental energies. There are other similar rituals that do work with individual elements and with the elements combined into one ritual. The lesser ritual of the pentagram works with invoking or banishing the divine light or Luke's energy. This is also sometimes called the astral light or the divine white brilliance. That being said, each of the archangels themselves are said to govern one of the four classical elements. You can include aspects of the elements when visualizing and invoking the archangels to aid in your connection to them. Raphael is said to govern over the element of air. When you are visualizing Raphael, you can feel or imagine a warm breeze blowing gently on your face. The Archangel Gabriel governs the element of water. When you are visualizing Gabriel, you can imagine the cool mist or spray at your back. Michael is the archangel that governs the element of fire. You can imagine feeling the heat of fire and flames to your right when visualizing Michael. Finally, the element of earth is governed by the archangel Uriel. To your left, you can imagine the cold dryness that is earth. These visualizations will help you connect to and understand the archangels. We have talked at some length about how to do the lesser ritual of the pentagram. Now let's take some time to look at the ways that you can put the ritual to work for you. The lesser ritual of the pentagram is a fundamental exercise to Western ceremonial magic. That being said, it is far from basic. It does many things magically, including purification, spiritual development, and preparation for magical works. The Kabbalistic cross is, in and of itself, an effective tool for grounding and centering. It helps to root us and empower us. The entire ritual is an excellent tool for clearing and preparing sacred space for magical work. You can do the invoking version to clear the area and bring in the divine light for magical work. You can use the banishing to clear the area completely. Performing the ritual regularly is a great way to raise your vibratory state and help connect to higher intelligence and your spiritual source. And of course, the lesser ritual of the pentagram connects the practitioner to the divine energy that he or she will be using in magical works. The ritual can also be used as a form of prayer or personal devotion. You can perform the invoking version in the mornings upon waking to energize yourself and set the intentions for your day. In the evening, you can do the banishing before bed to help relax, clear unwanted energies, and ground yourself from the day. This is a good practice for the serious magical student to do anyway. After 30 years of practice, I still do the ritual daily. The ritual can also be used to get rid of unwanted thoughts, energies, or feelings. To do this, you must assign an image to the unwanted subject. Create it in as much detail as possible. Don't make it look like another person, though. Once you have the image, see it a few feet from you. Then make the projecting sign to send it far away from you. Once it is sent away, give the sign of silence to keep it at bay. This will give you the time and space to do the lesser ritual of the pentagram. See yourself encircled by the ritual when done. Then allow the unwanted image to return. But when it reaches the edge of the circle or wall of your ritual, see it burst into flames and disappear, destroyed forever. A word of caution. This is a powerful technique for personal change. Don't take it lightly. Here are some other uses for the lesser ritual of the pentagram. The ritual can be done as an exercise in concentration without doing any of the physical or verbal components. Although it is important to do the physical work whenever possible, doing it mentally can increase your visualization and focus. Simply lay down or sit down, relax, and close your eyes. Then mentally picture and imagine doing the ritual in its entirety. Do not neglect the visualizations. It is advised to do the ritual before and after all magical work. Doing the invoking ritual before prepares the area and connects you to the source of energy for the magical works. Performing the ritual at the end clears out any residual energy that is not used in the magical work and releases any imprisoned spirits or entities that may have inadvertently been trapped there. If you're doing a magical work in a new place, or it is the first time in a long time that you've done magical work here, it's always a good idea to do the banishing version of the ritual before doing any other work. One more rather advanced application you can do with the ritual. When you are familiar with the ritual and comfortable with it, you can anchor it in your mind. Anchoring is a method of setting a trigger where it can be easily and quickly activated in an emergency. You will need to decide on a trigger or command word that will be linked with the ritual. I suggest a simple hand movement, something such as touching your thumb and ring finger together, and a command phrase that you can say or think. Now perform the ritual. When you have finished, take a moment and observe the ritual and its effect on you and the environment. Just pay attention to it for a few minutes. Now close your eyes and relax and let your mind be silent for a moment. Recall the ritual, the effect it has on you, and the effect it has on your environment. As you recall it, mentally and verbally say the command word and make the trigger with your hand. Once you have done so, mentally or verbally affirm that you are linking this trigger to the ritual, and whenever you make the trigger and say, mentally or verbally, the command word for the ritual, you will activate it. Now relax your mind and let the mental image fade. Then activate the trigger again and see and feel the effects appear around you. Every time you use it, it will become stronger and stronger. You do need to be proficient with the ritual and visualizations before doing this. Even then, if you are not used to anchoring, it may take you a few times of repeating the process so that it gets stuck in your mind. And with that, we've reached the end of our presentation. I would like to point out that this does not in any way present all of the teachings, information, or uses of the lesser ritual, the pentagram. There are entire books written about it. It's my suggestion that you continually research and learn. After 30 years of doing magical work, I still consider myself a student. You should never stop learning and growing. To that end, if you have any questions or comments about the presentation, please put them in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. I plan on putting out more videos on rituals, magical theory, and magical knowledge in the future. Thank you very much for your time and attention.